Good morning. Welcome to Morning Byte. Take a slow breath. Don't rush. Don't scroll. Today we're talking about something most people believe they need, and it's something called motivation. We watch motivational videos, we read motivational quotes, we wait for that emotional spark before we begin. But what if the real problem isn't motivation? What if it's clarity? Most people think they have a motivation problem. But what if I told you that you actually have a clarity problem? In the next 10 minutes, we're going to break down why waiting for the spark is keeping you stuck and how to build a system that works without it. Let's start by looking at the nature of motivation. That elusive feeling we all chase but can never quite bottle. Motivation is an emotion, and like all emotions, it's fleeting. It's like a high-performance fuel that burns out in seconds. When you rely on motivation, you're at the mercy of how you feel when you wake up. Some days you're a fire, other days you're a flicker. If your progress depends on your mood, your results will be as inconsistent as your feelings. That is the first trap. We often confuse getting motivated with making progress. We watch the videos, we read the quotes, but the needle doesn't move. That's because motivation is a push. It requires constant willpower. And willpower is a finite resource that drains throughout the day. Now, let's talk about the alternative, clarity. Clarity isn't a feeling, it's a vision. It's knowing exactly what the next step is. Think of clarity as your GPS. It doesn't care if you're tired or excited. It just tells you where to turn next to reach your destination. When you have clarity, the resistance to starting disappears. You don't need to get motivated because the path is already paved. Ambiguity is the mother of procrastination. If you don't know exactly what to do, your brain will choose the path of least resistance. Doing nothing. Clarity provides a blueprint. It turns a massive, intimidating goal into a series of manageable, non-threatening tasks. Here's the secret. Clarity actually creates its own kind of motivation. We call this momentum. Motivation is hard to start from a standstill, but once clarity gets you moving, motivation shows up to keep the engine running. In this model, motivation is a byproduct of progress, not a prerequisite for it. You act first, feel good second. That small win, that checked box, releases the dopamine that gives you the motivation to do the next thing. It's looking for the energy to finish the whole marathon. Just find the clarity to run the next 100 yards. To understand why clarity wins, we have to look at your brain. Motivation is often tied to dopamine, specifically the anticipation of a reward. When you have a clear goal and a clear path, your brain sees the reward as more attainable. This lowers the perceived effort required to start. Without clarity, your brain's amygdala treats the task as a threat. It sees the unknown as dangerous and triggers resistance. That's why you feel unmotivated. Think about the blank page. It's the ultimate form of ambiguity. There is no direction, so there is. Ambiguity has a cost. We call it the mental tax. You're spending all your energy trying to figure out what to do, leaving nothing left to actually do it. When you're lost, you don't need a cheerleader to tell you to run faster. You need a map. Speed is useless if you're running in the wrong direction. So how do we build clarity? The first tool is the next step rule. Never focus on the project. Focus on the next physical action. If your goal is write a book, that's a motivation killer. If your next step is open a Word document, that's clarity. It's impossible to fail at opening a document. Before you start any work session, spend 2 minutes defining exactly what finished looks like for that hour. This short circuits the need for motivation. There's a difference between goal setting and path setting. Goals are the where. The path is the how. Motivation is often tied to the goal, the result. But clarity is tied to the path, the process. You can control the process, you can't always control the result. Look at professional athletes. They don't wake up every morning motivated to swim 5,000 meters. Most days, they probably don't want to. What they have is clarity of schedule. The decision is already made. The decision is built into the system, not left to chance. They rely on the clarity of the routine to carry them through the days when motivation is at zero. Success is just the logical outcome of a clear system. To sustain this, you need rituals. A clarity ritual is a repeatable process that removes decision fatigue before your day even starts. Your evening ritual should be defining the top 3 tasks for tomorrow. When you wake up, you don't ask, what should I do? You just look at the list. Closing the loops at the end of the day gives your brain permission to rest. This mental clarity leads to better sleep and more energy the next morning. Your physical environment also dictates your clarity. Clutter is a constant visual reminder of unfinished business. It's a silent motivation drain. Design your space so the next step is obvious. If you need to work out, put your shoes by the door. If you need to write, leave your notebook open. In business, clarity is the difference between a high-performing team and a burnt-out one. Vague objectives are the death of productivity. A leader's primary job isn't to motivate the team. It's to provide the clarity that allows the team to motivate themselves through progress. The same applies to health. Don't wait to feel like eating healthy. Prepare the path. Meal prep is clarity in culinary form. By deciding what you'll eat on Sunday, you remove the decision fatigue on Wednesday night when you're tired and motivation is low. You will still feel resistance. Clarity doesn't eliminate the work, it just makes the work possible. When resistance hits, lean back into the system. When the path is clear, you only need 5 seconds of courage to step onto it. Once you're on the path, the system takes over. Consistency is simply the repetition of clear actions over a long period. Motivation might build the first floor, but clarity builds the skyscraper. Each clear step you take reduces the mental load for the next one. This is how you build a life of high achievement without the burnout. We've covered a lot today, from the dopamine loops in your brain to the rituals on your nightstand. It all comes back to one thing. Stop chasing the spark. Stop waiting for the stars to align. Start building the systems that make progress the default setting of your life. To help you implement this today, I've prepared a 10-point daily clarity checklist. We're going to walk through it right now. 1. Define the single most important task. 2. Identify the very first physical action required to start it. 3. Remove all visual distractions from your immediate environment. 4. Prepare your physical starting cues. 5. Set a specific time box for your work. 6. Commit only to the first 5 minutes. Clarity over commitment. 7. Acknowledge the small win immediately. 8. Update your path for the next session before you stop. 9. Clear the path for tomorrow before bed. 10. Perform your shutdown ritual to free your mind. When you live with clarity, you live with peace. You're no longer fighting yourself. You're simply walking the path you've built. Remember, clarity isn't just a productivity tool. It's a form of kindness to your future self. It removes the struggle and leaves only the achievement. Thank you for joining me for this masterclass on motivation versus clarity. I hope this framework changes the way you approach your goals. If you found this helpful, subscribe to the series and share this with someone who's currently waiting for their spark. Help them find their map instead. I'm your host, and this has been the Motivation versus Clarity Masterclass. We'll see you in the next episode.